Neverlet. I don't know. Cookie?
Hello, Professor.
No idea. They didn't leak it yet.
Hey guys, we're just gonna wait a couple minutes for people to join and then we'll get started. But it's nice to see you. We're getting to the end. Oh, thank you for asking. I just got a private message. Yes, my son is better, thank goodness. He had pneumonia. And the infection is gone. He still has quite a strong cough. But he's feeling a lot better. And then the doctors say it's actually gonna take a few months for him to get over the cough. But luckily, no fever, no more infection. So that's good. Okay, we'll just wait one more minute. Just out of curiosity, is anybody here from my in-person class? I don't think so. I think all these names are, I recognize you all usually from online. I invited my Friday in-person class to come to the Zoom because this Friday the college is closed in observation of Good Friday. So if you happen to have any classes on Friday on campus, don't go because the college is closed. Okay, let's get started, shall we? I'm gonna hit record. Hi everyone, welcome to Gen Ed 140 Healthy Lifestyle Management Week 11. This week you are learning all about muscular strength and endurance. And at the end of this week, there's a 10-question mini quiz for you to write. So today's Zoom will focus on a mini lecture to help prepare you for that mini quiz. So we'll get started, shall we? Okay. So here we are in week 11, and you might notice we're towards the very bottom of the slide, and there is 1 week left of content after this. So you are in the home stretch, people. Muscular strength and endurance this week, flexibility next week, and then review and final test. So This week, when you watch the lecture videos, you're going to learn about our muscles in our body. And you'll take a look at the anatomy of a muscle. And muscle is actually made up of a group of muscle fibers or fascicles. And at the cellular level, those fibers are made up of something called myofibrils. Myofibrils have protein called actin and myosin. And when you do any kind of strength training, right, like a bicep curl, then the muscle contracts. And at the cellular level, the actin and myosin actually increase in number. So the more actin and myosin you have, the more myofibrils you have, the larger the muscle fiber becomes. And there's a picture in your textbook as well of what that looks like. So the first diagram is the muscle that hasn't really been worked. So the adipose tissue, that fat deposit, subcutaneous fat under the skin layering the muscle, is larger, right? But the more you do the strength training and you build up your muscle, the larger it gets.
Huh?
So now in that second picture, there's less adipose tissue, less fat, larger muscle. And the
Walls
building of our muscles is
I think
called
if
hypertrophy.
you have a barrier on you.
Our muscles, by the way, are
Before you went
supported all around the muscle by connective
Yeah.
tissue, which is like a collagen protein structure that helps to support our organs and our
Okay.
muscles.
Yeah.
So the next thing you'll learn about this week when you watch the PowerPoints and read the textbook chapter is that we have different types of muscle. We have slow twitch muscles. Those are ones that use the oxidative energy system. So you remember from last week, you learned about the different energy systems within the body. So slow twitch don't get tired that easily, but they don't contract as quickly as fast twitch muscle fibers. So when would you need slow twitch? Well, you'd need them more for like cardio endurance based things like jogging, right? Going for a sustained period of time. Your fast twitch muscle fibers also, they use the non-oxidative energy system and they contract rapidly, forcefully, but they get tired more easily. So those you would look to use if you were doing a sprint, right? Where you don't need to sustain it very long. You need that explosive power, but only for a short amount of time. And finally, you have intermediate fibers. So a mix of the anaerobic and aerobic energy systems. And these muscles or muscle fibers, they don't get as tired as the fast twitch, but they get tired faster than the slow twitch. And they would be ideally used for like sports, right? Where you're running up and down the field, or you're like running up and down the basketball court. But then when it comes time to shoot, you need some explosive power for that, or when you're deking or something. And most of our muscles are a combination or a spectrum of fast twitch and slow twitch. We're born with a certain amount and type. It also depends on where in our body, like which muscle we're talking about. Some have greater fast twitch, some have greater slow twitch. And also when we train, we can condition the muscles to improve their fast twitch, slow twitch, and intermediate. What are the benefits of building up muscle? Why should we care about it? Well, when you look at the textbook chapter, you'll learn that there are an amazing amount of benefits to even doing just simple strength training. If you look at the changes on the left column of the screen I'm sharing with you, if you increase your muscle mass and the strength of your muscle, that's going to improve your body composition. And if you remember back to week 5, we aspire to have a body composition where we have more fat-free mass than fat mass relative to our personal body. So fat-free mass is bones, muscle, teeth, blood, right? That kind of stuff. Fat mass is the adipose tissue, both subcutaneous and intra-abdominal fat. As well, if we spend some time working on building our muscles, then we have a higher metabolism. We're more toned, healthier looking muscles. And because we're able to do things more efficiently with our muscles, it takes away the risk of injury, or at least reduces the risk of injury, and it reduces the risk of developing diseases. As well, we get better at recruiting motor units, and you'll learn about that this week as well, that each muscle fiber has a nerve motor unit attached to it. So if I decide to do a bicep curl, the first thing that actually happens is my brain tells my nerves, right? It sends a signal, a message to the motor unit in my bicep muscle to say, hey, can you please contract? And then the contraction happens actually, if you look at this picture again, see where the guy's bicep is, and then down below that, there's a tendon. The tendon attaches muscle to bone. So first step, motor unit sends the signal to say, hey, muscle, you need to contract. And then the muscle contracts, the tendon lifts the bone, and so my whole arm does a bicep curl. And the more we do that, the greater the recruitment of motor units, the better those nerve signals happen. So things get easier and more efficient when we do them more. We can strengthen our slow twitch and fast twitch muscles, which means that we have more strength, more power, more speed, and we don't get tired as easily. As well, we have better blood fat levels and better metabolism. So if you have more muscle, it means that it's easier for you to lose fat, to burn off fat, which reduces your risk of diabetes, heart disease, obesity, etc. You're also going to learn this week about different types of strength training or different categories. You'll learn about static isometric exercises. These are ones where the muscle contracts without any change, without any movement. So examples are like hanging, plank, holding in a low squat. This is a picture of a woman doing bird dog, as well as a side plank. A different type of exercise, strength exercise, are dynamic exercises or isotonic. Isotonic exercises, there is movement involved and there is a change in the length of the muscle. Sit-ups and push-ups are examples. Within the dynamic category, you have concentric and eccentric muscle contraction. So I use the bicep curl example again. A concentric contraction is the bicep muscle shortens when I curl up the weight, right? Imagine I have weight in my hand. So there's a concentric contraction happening in my bicep right now. And then I'm going to put down the weight and the muscle is going to lengthen. And that is called eccentric contraction. So concentric, the muscle shortens. Eccentric, the muscle lengthens. And lastly, with dynamic exercises, you can have constant exercises, and these are ones where the load doesn't change. So one more time, the example of the bicep curl. If I'm holding a 10-pound weight in my hand, that 10 pounds is 10 pounds, no matter where I am in the bicep curl, right? But we also have something called variable exercises. And in this case, the load does change. And a really good example of that is if you've ever used a band. So you can find them at the gym, or I have bands that I've bought from the dollar store. So in this picture, you see that she's standing on a giant elastic band. So if you imagine you reach down to get the band, down here, there's not a lot of tension. Up here, by the time you pull the band up this high, there's a lot more tension. So your body has to work a lot harder. And the last thing I'm going to talk about with you is designing a Fit VP program specifically to build muscular strength and endurance. So just a reminder, frequency stands for the number of days, like how many days per week you would do the exercise. Intensity is the amount of resistance. Time, the duration it would take to complete those sets and repetitions of exercises. And the type, strength training exercises for all the major muscle groups. So let's go through those things together. So, first of all, the general recommendation for strength training is a minimum of 2 days a week, but then you want to have at least one full day of rest in between the workout because after the muscles have experienced that stress, right, the micro tearing that helps build the actin and myosin, you need to recover. The muscles need some recovery time. So the recommendation is 2 days a week, but obviously no more than 4, right? Because you have to have at least one day in between each workout. Intensity. The intensity of strength training exercise, you want to stress the muscle. You want it to work hard, but you don't want to be sloppy either, or to the point of fatigue. You do want to be almost to the point of fatigue, but not total sloppiness because you could injure yourself. And you also would probably end up using the wrong muscles. Different muscles would end up trying to do the work. So intensity for a fit VP program for muscular strength and endurance depends on what your ultimate goal is. If you want to build strength, muscular strength, so you really want to have a lot of power, then you're going to focus on heavier weight, but less repetitions. And if you're completely unfamiliar with strength training, that's okay. A repetition, or rep, they shorten it. A repetition is the repeating a movement, right? What I'm doing right now is a bicep curl, and I'm repeating, right? I'm curling, let go, curl, let go. And so I'm doing, this is my 4th repetition, 5th repetition, 6th repetition. And I might do that 8 times and then take a rest and then do it again. 1, 2, 3, up to 8. And probably I would do 2 to 3 sets. So that means 3 times 8 repetitions. That's how many I would do of the bicep curl, say. If my goal is to build, I really want to see strength in this bicep, then I am going to choose a weight that is very heavy. I'm going to choose a weight that is almost 80%, 80% of the maximum I am capable of lifting. And how do I know that? Well, I would go to a gym or I would go to where there are weights and I would figure out, I would lift until I can't barely, I cannot lift. So maybe that's 100 pounds. Let's just say to be easy. Yeah, right. I can't lift 100 pounds. But anyway, you'll understand the math. So let's say my absolute maximum is 100 pounds. Now I know that that's my 1 rep maximum. Now I'm going to back up and lift about 80 pounds because that's 80% of my 1 rep maximum. And I'll do maybe 5 or 6 repetitions and then take a break. And then another 5 or 6 repetitions, take a break, and 3rd time. If, however, my objective is more to build my muscular endurance, so my ability to do that exercise for a longer period of time, then I'm not going to choose an 80-pound weight. I'm maybe going to choose a 40, 50, or 60-pound weight, which is lighter. So yes, it's a bit easier, but I'm going to do 15 to 20 repetitions. I'm going to do way more repetitions because I'm more wanting to build my muscular endurance. But for the majority of us, like me, the strength training I do, I'm interested in a mix of both. So I split the difference, right? About 70% of my 1 rep max, and I do a moderate number of repetitions. So my program looks like usually 8 to 10 repetitions, 3 sets of something, and the load is heavy, but it's not unbearable for me. Time, well, some people work out for 2 hours, some people work out for 20 minutes. There is no set number recommended when it comes to strength training. It's more about progressive overload, right? If it's too easy, you're not going to build muscle. But if you do a really intense workout, it might not take you as long. It depends. It depends on what your goal is. Oh, hello, sweetie. Don't say, oh. She keeps opening the door. So really time when it comes to the Fit VP principle for muscular strength and endurance, there's no set time. It's really about completing the sets and repetitions for a program. And what types of exercises should you do? The general recommendation is between 8 to 10 exercises that involve the major muscle groups. So the upper body, the lower body, arms, front, back, legs, back of legs. And that, dude, no. Sorry. And that you try and balance them out, right? So you know how I was showing you bicep curls. Well, if I was actually, in the gym doing bicep curls, eventually I would want to do, maybe like is this your deltoid? I can never remember. Do something to help, that's a reverse. Or if I do quads, if I do like a leg curl or something that is really hard on my quadriceps, then I want to do a hamstring curl afterwards. And if I do a lot of upper body like I did today, then next time I go to the gym, I'm probably going to want to do more lower body. So you want to balance out to get the full range. And also, if you work out, start with larger muscles and then move towards the smaller, more intricate muscles, if that is something you're interested in. The textbook gives you tons of examples and photographs as well so that you can see what things are. But here's an example of what a Fit VP program, like what the recommendations are. And then some examples. So, and I just actually got home from the athletic complex and doing my workout. So the first 5 to 10 minutes, I did kind of like a warm up of like bird dog, the picture you saw earlier, where I'm on a yoga mat, and I did some cat and cow. I did some, it looks like a cross between stretching and calisthenics, like body weight exercise. And that was my warm up. And then I move into the strength training part of it. And then I would do 3 sets of 8 to 10 repetitions. And today was upper body. So, pulled the lat pull downs and dumbbell press and you name it. There's a gazillion exercises that are out there. And then end off your workout with some stretching to cool yourself down. It's great to stretch at the end of a workout when your muscles are nice and warm. So that is everything you're going to look at this week, which hopefully sets you up to write this mini quiz. It's only worth 4%. They are multiple choice questions. So now let me share that screen with you. So here we are. So once you've watched the PowerPoint video and read the chapter in the textbook, you can then go to the quizzes and this muscular strength and endurance quiz, and you're going to write the quiz. And like I said, it's 10 questions, multiple choice, and basically everything I just talked to you about, give or take, in some form answered a question that will be on the mini quiz. So make sure you do that at some time between now and Sunday, because it closes on Sunday, okay? The last thing I'll just bring to your attention is last week we devoted our time to talking about the Healthy Lifestyle Management Plan Part B assignment. If you weren't here, I recorded, Monday was a complete disaster. My internet crashed. So I recorded again on Wednesday and I uploaded the Zoom to our course. So if you're curious and want detailed instructions with examples for the Healthy Lifestyle Management Plan assignment, then you can go online and look at the recording from last week. And I'll reiterate, it is an assignment worth 20%, which is the weightiest of all the assessments in this class. So it's not something you want to rush through and just give like superficial answers, right? You want to take your time, think critically, think more deeply about, how was my progress with my plan? Did I succeed or did I fail? If I failed at it, why? What happened? Why did I drop the ball? What have I learned that I could improve upon for next time? And I'm not grading you on whether you succeeded or failed. I'm grading you on if you really can reflect on what happened and what you'll do differently next time. And I've already started marking them and they're okay. most people, some are okay, some are unfortunately, yeah, they're not taking the time to really read the instructions and answer those questions deeply. So I think the next thing to talk about is I think next week is our last class. Because after that it's review and then the final test. Isn't that amazing? Well, okay, so I'm going to ask you, since you're here, next week we can do a mini lecture on flexibility, and then the week after we can do the practice test. Or we can, this is an online course. You already have the lecture online. You don't need me to mini lecture you. We can just do the practice test next week, and then you don't have to show up to any more Zooms. So what would you like? Show me an emoticon if you would like a lecture on flexibility next week and the practice test in 2 weeks. Show me a thumb if that's what you want. 2 more Zooms. Not a single person. Okay. Oh, Maria does. Okay. Show me a thumb if you would rather do the practice test next week. So that means next week will be our last and final Zoom session. Show me a thumb if you want that. Okay. Astrid. Okay. Okay. I get the message. I won't take it personally. Okay. Okay, well that's it then. So that means come to next Monday's class ready to participate in the practice test, which means you need to have looked at the final week content ahead of time if you want to know what's going on, right, in the practice test. You need to have wrapped your head around flexibility and lower back health if you want to maximize the practice test experience. All right, my friends, I will stick around if anyone needs to ask me any questions. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week for our final Zoom. Take care.